So, this video has been a long time coming. If you're familiar with my channel, then you probably know that I love Gorillaz, and if you're not familiar with my channel, hi, welcome, I'm Sahana, and I love Gorillaz. About a year ago, I made a video ranking every single Gorillaz album, and a few months after that, I had the stupid idea to then rank and review every single Gorillaz song. So it took me a couple months, but I eventually compiled all their songs into a list, ranked from worst to best. I was ready to go, ready to record, and then I realized something. I realized that Gorillaz had a new album, Cracker Island, coming out in just a few short months, and if I went through with making the video at that point in time, then the video would become dated pretty much immediately. So I had to wait for the album to come out, and then I had to listen to the album, and then I had to put the songs from the album into the list, but by the time I got there, I realized I didn't really agree with the list anymore, so I had to redo the whole thing, but we're finally here. Today, in this video, I'm going to be ranking all 175 Gorillaz songs. So I have a couple disclaimers before we start. I'm going to make it quick because this is probably going to be the longest video I've ever made, but this video is only going to include the songs that Gorillaz have released in an official capacity. So I'm sorry if you love Mr. Softy's Balloon Race or Sick Parrot, but those aren't going to be on the list, and neither are any remixes. So any of the remixes from G-Sides, D-Sides, or anything from Like a Come Home won't be on this list. Also, you're probably going to disagree with a lot of this list, and that's totally fine. I actually really want to hear your thoughts in the comments. As I was making this list myself, my opinions were pretty much constantly changing, and I was constantly moving entries around, especially because there are just so many of them. I eventually just had to stop myself and leave the list the way it was so that I could get the video out sometime in the next 5 years. So if you disagree with any part of my list, that's fine. Give it a week, I probably will too. So I've divided this video into chapters based on how good or bad I think the songs are. At the very bottom, we have the songs that I consider to be unlistenable. Then above that, we have the songs that are bad, and then the songs that are just okay, then the good songs, then the great songs, then the masterpieces, and then the highest tier I couldn't think of a name for, so I just put a bunch of exclamation points, because that's how those songs make me feel. So hopefully this breakdown makes the video a little bit easier to watch. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started with the very bottom tier, the Gorillaz songs that I personally consider to be unlistenable. The ones that are just truly awful, that have little to no redeeming qualities. Don't worry, there's only 4 of them. Starting off with what I consider to be the very worst song Gorillaz have ever made, number 175, Colombians. When I first heard this song, I thought it was a joke because it had recently been announced that there would be a super deluxe edition of Humans that would only be available by purchasing the super deluxe Humans box set for $350. And call me a fake fan, but I didn't want to pay that much money to access these songs, so I wanted to go and see if I could find them for free on YouTube. And it turns out that I could. And the first song I found was this one, Colombians. So I click on it, and the first few seconds are pretty good. It's off to a promising start. And then it just went so wrong so quickly. And I was like, oh, okay. This is like a joke song uploaded by some guy on the internet to play a prank on the people who aren't willing to spend the money on the box set and are trying to listen to the songs for free. All right, haha, you got me. And it wasn't until like 2 weeks later that I realized this was the real song, and it was just really bad. This song sucks, man. I don't know what to tell you. I know it's supposed to be more off the wall and experimental, but I feel like just because something is experimental doesn't automatically mean it's good. This song is so messy and so grating. It just sounds like somebody rubbing balloons together, and I think it is without a doubt the worst song Gorillaz have ever made. Number 174, Grilling with His Face. We've got another Human Super Deluxe track. It's basically just a loop of some unintelligible speaking and grating synths. Yep. Number 173, The Speak It Mountains. We've got our first track from The Fall, and I know I've gone on record saying that The Fall is actually an amazing album. but I still have nothing to say in defense of this one. It's just a jumble of text-to-speak voices and 2D puttering around on a keyboard. Oh, until the ending, where you hear what sounds like the screams of somebody being tortured. Spoiler alert, it's not. It's just a picture of a mountain being converted into sound, but that doesn't make it any less unsettling. Number 172, Samba at 13. I have to admit, this probably isn't a bad song, it's just not for me. I don't really listen much to samba, but to me, this song just sounds like noise that goes on for far too long. And with that, we've covered all the songs that I consider to be unlistenable, and we can move up a tier to the songs that I think are just bad. They may not be unlistenable, and I might even enjoy certain aspects of them, but I definitely don't think they're very good songs. Number 171, Friday 13th. This is, in my opinion, the worst song on a mainstream Gorillaz album. There's just nothing good about it. The beat is boring, Octavian just sounds obnoxious, and the chorus from 2D is just not enough to save the song for me. Especially on an album like Song Machine, where everything else is so high quality, the song looks even worse by comparison. Number 170, Duets. We're back to the Human Super Deluxe tracks. This song's biggest crime is that it's just very plain. I kind of like the autotune on 2D's voice, but overall, the song just feels so empty and unfinished. Definitely not worth charging $350 for. Number 169, Phoenix on the Hill. Again, this one's just very boring and very repetitive. The only thing I like about it is that it reminds me of the Demon Days festival. I mean, I didn't go or anything, but watching that live stream sure was fun. Number 168, She's My Caller, Kali Uchis Special. I've mentioned before that I love Kali, which I think is what makes this song so disappointing. I think the song had a lot of missed opportunity. When I first heard that this song would be on the Super Deluxe version of Humans, I thought that they were going to do a similar thing to what they did with Latin Simone, in which the English and Spanish versions of the song would kind of be a conversation with each other. I thought maybe the original version of the track would be from the perspective of the man and the relationship, and then Kali's special would be from the perspective of the woman. But from what I can tell based on the English translation, I don't speak Spanish, it doesn't seem like that's the case. And Kali isn't even singing so much as whispering, which makes the song kind of boring. And this is not a criticism I have of this song specifically, but of all the specials on the Super Deluxe edition. I wish that they would have added a little bit more of the flavor of the featured artist instead of just using the same instrumental, because especially at this point in her career, Kali had a very distinctive style, and I think hearing a version of She's My Caller with the more retro 50s and 60s sensibilities she included in her music would have been really interesting. So I think what puts this song in the bad tier rather than just the okay tier is just that it's so disappointing to me. Number 167, Circle of Friends. I feel bad ranking this so low because it's just so earnest. It feels like I'm trashing a kid's movie. The song has Land Before Time energy, but not like the first one, like the 10th one where it's a musical and there's a dinosaur voiced by Reba McEntire for some reason. I know I sound like a broken record with some of these lower songs, but the song is just so boring and repetitive, and it's just such a lackluster finale to the deluxe version of Humans. Number 166, Midnight Float. I actually think this song has a lot of potential, especially as an album opener, but the way it is now, it's just too busy and too messy. I think if maybe they had bothered to finish it and cleaned it up a little bit, then maybe it would have been a really strong opener for the Super Deluxe version of Humans, and then maybe I would have been willing to pay $350. Number 165, Hip Albatross. Really, this song's only contribution to Gorillaz as a whole is to further perpetuate the zombie aesthetic they used in Phase 1. Other than that, it's much too plain and it feels kind of unfocused. Number 164, The Joplin Spider. I originally had this song in the unlistenable tier, but I bumped it up a little bit because that melody and the vocals are actually really good if you can sit through the intro to the song, which is genuinely probably the worst aspect of any song Gorillaz have ever made. Number 163, Halfway to the Halfway House. This song is dragged down so far by its instrumental, which is frankly just horrible. Pev and Everett's doing a great job as always, but it's not enough to save this one, and the gospel vibe of the song from both Pevin and the chorus really doesn't jive with this beat, which again is whack as fuck. Number 162, Submission. I don't have a justification for why I hate this song so much. I think it's just that the two halves feel so mismatched to me. I don't like the beat, I don't like the chorus, I don't like the verse from Danny Brown. I just hate this one for whatever reason. I'm sorry if you love this one, but it really just doesn't work for me. So now that we've covered all of the songs from Gorillaz that I consider to be bad or worse, I'd like to point something out. Of these 14 songs, 6 of them are from the super deluxe version of Humans. That's really bad. I don't know whose decision this was, if it was the marketing team or the record label. I definitely don't blame Damon or Jamie for this, but what they did, whoever did this, what they did was they took these unfinished demos that are arguably some of the worst music the band has ever put out, tacked them onto the existing Humans tracklist, put them all in a box, and sold them for $350. I know I keep saying that as a joke, but it's legitimately insane to me. I will never understand this decision, especially because these songs, if you could even call them that, aren't available on streaming for free. They're hidden behind this paywall. It's an unfathomably stupid marketing decision that I just will never understand. Sorry to derail the video, but this is something that's been bugging me for a really long time, and I just had to talk about it. So now we're going to move on to the Gorillaz songs that, in my opinion, are just okay. They're not good, they're not bad, they're not the queen, they're just okay. Starting off with a little segment that I like to call the Humans Interlude Bonanza. I really don't have differing opinions on much of these, and I kind of think of all of them as one entity, so we're just going to go through them one by one, worst to best. Number 161, New World. It's a decent segue in between the standard and deluxe editions of Humans, but again, those synths, just like in Grilling with His Face, are extremely grating to me. Number 160, The Elephant. To me, it's just too simple, and the metaphor is a little bit on the nose, or trunk, if you will. Number 159, Talk Radio. This one's not that bad, it just kind of makes me uncomfortable, like I'm hearing something I shouldn't be, which maybe was the intention, but doesn't mean I have to like it. Number 158, I Switched My Robot Off. I don't have much to say about this one, it's a pretty decent intro. Number 157, The Nonconformist Oath. I just think this one's kind of funny. Number 156, Elevator Going Up. Memes aside, I actually think this one ties in really well to the theme of the album, with it being a giant house party. Number 155, Penthouse. Once again, this interlude is the best one because to me, it makes you feel like you're at the party this album is kind of centered around. I really like the sound design of it, with it sounding like you're coming into this party from outside, and I honestly think it would have made a better intro than I Switched My Robot Off. Number 154, California and the Slipping of the Sun. As the last real song on the fall, it's a little bit underwhelming to me, although I will say the beginning of the song with the sort of airport ambiance does feel like the end of an adventure. Number 153, Bobby and Phoenix. I'm sorry, Bobby, I just really don't like this one. I think that guitar line used throughout, or maybe it's a banjo, is just really obnoxious. I don't like it. And this song had the potential to be beautiful, just like Cloud of Unknowing, but it just never really made it there in my opinion. Number 152, The Apprentice. This is a fine song. I personally just don't enjoy it. I like the verse from Zebra Cats, and I like the title, but overall this song just doesn't really do it for me. Number 151, Opium. I really want to like this one, but in my opinion it goes on for too long, and the build-up just isn't really worth it, and I definitely don't have a problem with longer Gorillaz songs, as you'll see later on in the list, but to me, this one's just not worth sitting through. Number 150, Simplicity. This song is obviously very simple. It's not one I seek out very often, but whenever I listen to it, I do enjoy it. Number 149, Idaho. I like the more acoustic, raw sound this song is going for, especially on an album like the Now Now that is so synth-heavy, but I don't like the strings used throughout, and I don't like the outro. Number 148, Deja Vu. This one's pretty fun and upbeat. I think the lyrics are really cute, but it just doesn't have a lot of staying power, and I kind of tend to forget it exists the second I'm done listening to it. Number 147, Five Whales in a Dream. Definitely one of the better super deluxe tracks. I find it very soothing, and it kind of reminds me of like a TV announcement screen or maybe a loading screen that would be used in a Gorillaz video game. Number 146, Dracula. I guess I should start by saying that I love vampires, not like Twilight type vampires, but like the old gothic Dracula type vampires, and this song just does not live up to that. I think it's just because I personally don't really like the whole dub reggae vibe in their first album, but I feel like the title of this song promises a dark gothic aesthetic that it absolutely does not deliver on. Number 145, Possession Island. This one's an okay closer to Cracker Island, but I feel as though Beck is very much wasted, and the horn section in the middle-ish just really comes out of nowhere. Especially when you compare it to other album closers of Gorillaz albums past, it's just not that great. Number 144, Tormenta. This song is a huge hit right now, so I feel like it's kind of a hot take to say that it's not very good. I will say I like the instrumental. Something about it kind of reminds me of like hard candy, like a gumball or a jawbreaker. I don't know. But overall, I just think it's kind of boring. Number 143, Meanwhile. I still don't have a very high opinion of this EP. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like it. I don't think the songs on it are bad, and I don't think this song is very bad. Again, it's just very forgettable. Number 142, Baby Queen. I think this song is pretty bland. Maybe my opinion will change the longer I'm able to kind of sit with the album, but at this point in time, I feel as though the songs all kind of run together and there's nothing to really make each individual song stand out. But despite the bland instrumental, I kind of like to imagine that the lyrics of the song imply that 2D thinks a queen is just the grown-up version of a princess and not a title that is earned over time, kind of like how, say, a cow is just a grown-up version of a calf. Number 141, Intro. This is the intro from Demon Days, in case that wasn't clear. It does a good job of setting up the atmosphere and mood of the album, but it just doesn't really stand on its own to me. Number 140, Silent Running. Once again, my main complaint with this album, it's just too smooth, too polished. There's nothing about it to really sink your teeth into, although I will say I do like the more 80s inspired feel of this one. Number 139, Film Trailer Music. I think it's worth noting the difference between a super deluxe demo and a demo found on an earlier Gorillaz album. This one is kind of fun. It feels more fleshed out, even though it still is just a loop. And also, to listen to this song, you don't have to pay Number 138, Taxi Back to 80s, Reykjavik. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry. This one is definitely a more underrated one for me. It definitely serves as a throwback to phases 1 and 3, which I think is because the synths used at certain points in the song are the exact same synths used from the outro of Superfast Jellyfish. Number 137, The Tired Influencer. I think my favorite part of this song is the lyrics, especially the line, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's something like, "It was a different time back then." I hear that all the time out here. I think that says a lot about influencer culture, and as somebody who's very invested in the YouTube space and kind of the antics of all these different problematic influencers, I kind of like this Gorillaz take on it, even if the song itself is kind of forgettable. Number 136, Transformer. So similar to Midnight Float, I actually think this could have been a great album opener. There's something about it that feels very grand and monumental, and it's definitely one of the better super deluxe tracks, and if it had been finished, I could definitely see it in a much higher tier. Number 135, Charger, Pauline Black version. I will say that Pauline has a great energy throughout this one, but it feels like her vocals are arranged kind of weirdly so that there's a lot of empty spaces of just instrumental. There's something about the structure of this song that's kind of clunky. Number 134, Rocket. I think I like this song less than I thought. This song's biggest charm is just that it's kind of funny, what with most of the lyrics being blahs, but that joke kind of gets old after the first verse. Number 133, Long Beach. This is my favorite super deluxe track. It reminds me of something you would hear on the old Kong Studios website. It is just a loop, but it's so charming that I just can't help but love it. Number 132, Don't Get Lost in Heaven, demo version. Obviously, it's not as good as the final version, but it's kind of cute, kind of quirky, and there's something about it that reminds me of the end credits music from The Amazing World of Gumball. Does anybody else get that vibe? Number 131, We Got the Power. I really want to like this song, and I will say the live version is really good. They played it when I went to see them in 2017, and it was really actually pretty powerful. They used it as the last song before the encore, and especially the visuals that they use on tour. It's a bunch of clips from their previous music videos, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. But the studio version, it's just not that good. The lyrics are so awful. Definitely the worst lyrics of any song on Humans, and one of the worst lyrics from Gorillaz in general. And once again, just like Possession Island, in terms of album closers, it really just doesn't live up to what we've had in the past. Number 130, Seattle Yodel. I feel like I've ranked this song ridiculously high, and it's just because I think it's really funny, but not for the reason you think. I know this song has kind of been memed to death in the fandom, but I kind of want to put you where Gorillaz fans were at the time this song was released, because after this album came out, Gorillaz went on hiatus for almost 7 years, and during this hiatus, everybody thought Gorillaz were over. Nobody knew when or if they would be coming back. In the final track from the final album they released, their closing chapter, their goodbye, their swan song, was a yodeling pickle. Also, I guess now is as good of a time as any to just flex on y'all real quick and let you know that I actually own this pickle. I saw it at a department store when I was at the mall with my friends, and I was like, there's no way this is actually the pickle. So I went into a kind of secluded corner of the store so that nobody could hear me, and I pressed the button, and lo and behold, it was indeed the yodeling pickle. So I went back to my friends and I was like, you guys, I have to buy this pickle. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that is kind of funny. And I'm like, oh no, you guys don't get it. Maybe if I hold it up to the mic, will you guys be able to hear it? So, try not to be too jealous. Number 129, 911. This is our first non-album single featuring D12, but not Eminem. I wonder if there's a parallel universe out there somewhere in which Eminem did feature on this track and it became their biggest hit. But as it is, this song kind of serves as a time capsule into kind of the state of things post 9/11, and I do think including sort of an Arabic influence in this song is a very interesting choice. Number 128, 1%. I feel like this song wants to be Cloud of Unknowing, but it's just falling short. It feels like it should be carrying a lot of significance and a lot of emotional weight, but it just doesn't quite make it across the finish line. Number 127, Skinny Ape. I will say the acoustic intro of this song is really good. I think this is what Idaho should have been, and I do like that in this song Damon is singing in character as 2D, referring to himself as a cartoon. But I think the transition between the chorus and that sort of noisy outro is a little bit too jarring, and the outro itself sounds a little bit too busy and messy and not really the high energy banger that I think it was supposed to be. Number 126, Jimmy Jimmy. This is, in my opinion, the best song from the Meanwhile EP, mostly just because it's the closest thing we have to a real-life flimsy Steve. Number 125, The Snake in Dallas. I think this one has a really nice energy, and the synth sound throughout just kind of scratches an itch in my brain, but it also... This is hard to explain. It kind of tricks my ears. I don't know if you guys kind of know what I'm talking about, but there's that synth throughout, and depending on how you listen to it, it either sounds like it's going da-da-dun, da-da-dun, or da-da-dun, da-da-dun. I don't know if I've communicated that well, but like, go listen to the song, and if you try and hear it both ways, you can. It's kind of like a Laurel Yanny situation. Number 124, Latin Simone, English version. This one's fine, 2D sounds fine, but this version, and especially the vocals in it, just pale in comparison to the Spanish version. Although I do really like, and I mentioned this before, but I do really like how the two versions of the song are framed as a conversation between a depressed man and his friend desperately trying to comfort him. I think that gives both versions a lot of emotional impact. Number 123, Double Bass. I really like the lore tie-in on this one and how it's canonically what you would hear if you could go inside 2D's brain. I also like the spoken word line from Damon, but there's something about this song that just makes me kind of uneasy. I guess you could say it makes me anxious, at times unbearably so. Number 122, Man Research, Clapper. I really like the instrumental in this one, but the vocals are genuinely so obnoxious to me, especially the chorus. But the problem is they're also really catchy, so once you hear it, it doesn't leave your brain. Number 121, 1-2-D3. This one's really warm and cozy to me, and once again, I love whenever Damon sings in character, and it's really interesting to hear a song written as 2D, and you kind of get to see Damon's take on the character rather than just Jamie's, which I think is pretty interesting. Number 120, White Light. This song, in my opinion, is a lot better than people give it credit for. It's got a nice upbeat energy, and I really, really love the break in the middle. Number 119, Highway Under Construction. This song has always been very soothing and kind of cathartic to me. It kind of feels like when you spend an entire night crying and then you eventually just cry yourself to sleep and then you wake up the next morning still feeling a little bit sad, but with the hope that today will be better. But maybe that's just me. The only thing I will say is that this song goes on for a little bit too long, and it's got a couple of instrumental breaks that are kind of plain, kind of boring, that just drag the song down. So now we're going to be moving on up to the songs that I consider to be good. From this point onwards, I'm going to have a lot more to say positive than negative. Number 118, Busted in Blue, Faya Yunnan Special. I want to start by saying that Faya has an absolutely gorgeous voice and she completely carries this version of the song. Although I do have a little bit of a hot take, I guess, just because I haven't seen this opinion expressed very much or at all, but I actually think her voice would be better suited to the song Charger than Busted in Blue. I just think the instrumental for Busted in Blue doesn't go as well with her voice as Charger would. I think Charger would benefit a lot from a little bit of Arabic flavor. I think that would make the song sound really unique and interesting. And I think the smoothness of her voice with the more rough guitar in Charger would sound really, really cool. But as the song is now, I really like her version of Busted in Blue, and I wish that she had featured a little bit more on the album. Number 117, Charger. I like this song, but it feels like it's trying to have the energy of, say, a Ghost Train or even a Momentary Bliss, and I feel like it just doesn't quite reach that point. And I feel as though Grace Jones, similar to Beck in Possession Island, is a little bit wasted here. I mean, allegedly she was in the recording booth for about 4 hours, so it's a little disappointing that this is all that ended up in the final version. Although, and this is the case with most songs on Humans, but the live version is a significant improvement. I love the live version of Charger, especially the performance at that one show in Toronto. That one was really hard. I mean, really big. I mean, really good. Number 116, Starshine. I like the mood of this one. It feels very nocturnal to me. It feels a little bit empty, and I kind of wish it would build up a little bit more instead of just repeating the same melody all the way through. Number 115, Bill Murray. Because this song is mostly instrumental, it does get a little bit boring, although the harmonies on the vocals from 2D are genuinely one of the most beautiful parts of any Gorillaz song, in my opinion. Number 114, Don Chromatic. I think a lot of people hate this song because it kind of took Rhinestone Eyes' spot as a single during the promotion of the album, and it had a music video made for it in favor of the storyboard from Rhinestone Eyes, which disappointed a lot of people. It disappointed me too, but I don't really think that's a fair reason to hate the song. I think it's a fine song. I think Daly does a great job, and it's kind of upsetting that in Gorillaz lore, he's canonically straight up dead. Number 113, MLS. This is a pretty cute pop song. I think it's pretty sweet, and I really enjoy the juxtaposition of the lyrics from JPEG Mafia and Chai, because with JPEG Mafia you kind of have him observing the state of the rap genre and kind of the lack of talent he finds within it and his own success in the genre, and meanwhile Chai is literally just going on about Gorillaz and how lazy they are and how they smell bad. Number 109, Phoner to Arizona. I really like the distorted vocals on this one, and I think it's a great album opener, even if the main synth used throughout sounds like somebody absolutely ripping ass. Number 108, Crocodillas. I think this is the worst of the collaborations between Gorillaz and De La Soul, which definitely doesn't mean it's bad. Obviously, it's in the good tier, but competition is so stiff here that this one still ends up on the bottom. Maybe it'll grow with me in time, but for now, that's just how it's gotta be. Number 107, Hong Kongaton. I love the synth hook throughout and the laser gun, credit to Jamie Hewlett, and I don't know what the sound is at the opening. I read somewhere it was somebody eating noodles. I always thought it kind of sounded like somebody drinking a Slurpee, but it definitely grabs your attention. Number 106, Rock the House. Something I struggled with when making this list was separating my feelings toward a song from the emotions I have towards that music video, because, for example, the music video for Rock the House just makes me feel so many emotions, and I can't tell if they're positive or negative, but it makes me feel so strongly that sometimes I forget the song itself isn't awesome. It's not bad, but it's just not one of their best in my opinion. Number 105, Garage Palace. I think Little Sims does a great job on this one. I think the instrumental has a lot of nice energy, and ultimately I think most of the songs on Humans should have been more of this. Number 104, Kansas. Love the chorus on this one, and I love that despite being slow and more downbeat, it never really gets boring. Number 103, Lake Zurich. I first heard this song in the album teaser for the Now Now, and I was immediately hooked on it. I loved the more retro sensibilities of it. My one complaint is that it goes on for a little bit too long. I think after you get Damon's whole sort of story about the tunnel, then we could have had the chorus come back one more time and then have the song end. I think that would just improve it a little bit. Number 102, Tarantula. In my opinion, this is one of the most memorable songs from Cracker Island, and it's got a really catchy chorus. Number 101, Sorcerers. I absolutely love this one. I love the melody in the chorus. I love the references to drumming in the verse that made everybody think it was about him from the Powerpuff Girls. It just kind of takes me back to that era of fan speculation that was present in Phase 5, a simpler time to be sure. Number 100, Sex Murder Party. I'm sorry, I just love this song so much. I don't know what to tell you. I will admit that the verses do feel very unfinished. It feels like Jamie Principle and Zebra Cats are just making things up as they go, and not in a cool do you thing kind of way, just in a kind of we forgot to write lyrics for this one kind of way. But I love the chorus on this one. I love the vocals from 2D. I love the harpsichord in the background. It just has a very Halloween vibe to me. It feels kind of spooky, and I really, really like that. Number 99, Left Hand Suzuki Method. I've been playing piano since I was a little kid, and the song sampled in Left Hand Suzuki Method long ago is like one of the staples when you're learning to play piano. It's like up there with Green Sleeves. So this song is really nostalgic for me. It just kind of takes me back to those days of piano lessons. But aside from that, I just love how heavily Noodle features on this song, and I wish that they would do that more often these days. Number 98, Punk. This is a song that I wish they would play live more often because I think it would be really good to kind of get people up, get them hyped, get them jumping around, and I love that noise that 2D makes at the beginning. It sounds like a cat throwing up a hairball. Number 97, Welcome to the World of the Plastic Beach. I think Snoop Dogg and the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble work together really well here, and I also think it's very smart to have the first proper track on an album be an introduction to this new location, because this album, Plastic Beach, as well as just the phase in general, is kind of centered around this new location. I would also like to point out that this is the first song from Plastic Beach in this ranking. I've mentioned every other album besides this one. This is, in my opinion, the worst song from Plastic Beach, and it's still firmly in the good tier, which I think should say a lot about how f***ing amazing this album is. Number 96, Murdoch is God. This is just another one that I think is really funny, and it's also a nice reminder that Damon and Jamie are a team. They're a united front. They don't work completely independently from each other. Sometimes it's easy to kind of get the idea in your head that Damon is very detached from the fictional universe of the band. He doesn't really care about it, and I maintain that that still may be the case today. But this song proves that at least back then, he was somewhat connected to the characters Jamie has created, because this really does feel like a song Murdoch would write between the lyrics and the metal influence, and it really just warms my heart. Number 95, Severed Head. This is definitely one of the better bonus tracks on Song Machine, and I think it should have been on the album proper. I mean, it's definitely better than Friday 13th. I think Gold Link sounds really good on this instrumental, and I really like Damon's story about getting hereditaried. I don't know if you've noticed throughout this video, but I kind of struggle with whether to say Damon or 2D, because I feel like the later you get in the Gorillaz discography, the harder it is to sort of be immersed in the fictional world, and the harder it is to pretend that it's Damon singing. So while I may feel like 2D is singing songs like Clint Eastwood or Tomorrow Comes Today, I can't really say the same for most of the songs off Humans or Song Machine or Cracker Island. Number 94, Chi-Town. I like to listen to The Fall whenever I go on a road trip, and as long as I'm not the one driving, I'm pretty much always asleep before this song ends. There's something about it that's very soothing to me. It kind of reminds me of when it's raining outside and you don't really have anything to do, so you just kind of sit around the house. And it's a great song to just drift off to sleep to, until, of course, the intro to The Joplin Spider comes around and wakes you right up. Number 93, Oil. This is definitely one of the better songs from Cracker Island, and I love Stevie Nicks, and I know this is a common criticism of this song, but I just feel like she wasn't used properly. They stuck her way in the back to the point where sometimes it's hard to hear her. I think Gorillaz songs kind of struggle with that balance when it comes to featured artists. I feel like too often the feature is underutilized and wasted, or the featured artist is kind of allowed to take over and monopolize the entire song, so you kind of end up with this dichotomy of extremes. I will say that I know the song was originally supposed to feature Julian Casablancas from The Strokes, and while I love Stevie Nicks, I really would have liked to hear that version. Number 92, The Pink Phantom. Now, I remember during the rollout for Song Machine, we knew that this song would be featuring a big name guest artist, but we didn't know who it was, and I was way off the mark. I thought it would be a more mainstream modern pop artist, like an Ariana Grande or a Dua Lipa or The Weeknd. And obviously I was completely wrong, but I definitely wasn't disappointed. I know people joke a lot about how Gorillaz will take the two most mismatched artists in the history of the world and put them together on a song and make them sound good, and I think this is one of the best examples of that. Elton John and Black are such different artists, yet they work together on this song so well, and this is, to my knowledge, the only Gorillaz song to reference Atlanta, which is where I grew up, so this song will always be special to me. Number 91, New Gold. Speaking of features, I think this song has probably the best guest lineup from any Gorillaz song. I know the Tame Impala collab was something a lot of fans, including myself, were really looking forward to. And Booty Brown, of course, we all know and love from Dirty Harry, so I think my expectations for the song were pretty high, and to me it was a little disappointing. It just doesn't feel like it manages to be greater than the sum of its parts, if that makes sense. I think it had the potential to be one of the all-time greats, and it just wasn't. Number 90, Spitting Out the Demons. I love the intro to this song. It's very mesmerizing, and despite the song being mostly instrumental, it manages to keep your attention, or at least my attention, all the way through, with some really cool guitar and bass riffs. Overall, I just really like the mood of the song. Number 89, Let Me Out. To me, this song is kind of like the thesis statement of Humans, if that makes sense. There's no metaphors, there's no dancing around the topic at hand. Pusha T basically just bursts into the room and says, look, Trump's been elected, the world is ending, this sucks. And I think the feature from Mavis Staples, as well as the chorus, adds a really nice gospel feel that's very interesting for a song like this. I like 2D's verse as well. To me, this is kind of just the pinnacle of the point that Humans is trying to get across, if that makes sense. Number 88, Carnival. First of all, Anthony Hamilton has an absolutely beautiful voice. He sounds amazing. And second of all, I think this is one of the few songs on Humans that properly capture the sort of chaos and intensity I think they were trying to get across. My only problem with this song is that it cuts out right as it feels like it's picking up steam. Number 87, Fireflies. I feel like on most Gorillaz album, there's one specific song that is designated to be the sad one. On Demon Days, you have El Mañana. On Plastic Beach, you have Broken. On Humans, you have Busted in Blue. And on the Now Now, you have Fireflies. Now, in terms of quote-unquote sad ones, this one isn't as effective for me, but I still think it's really gorgeous. Number 86, We Are Happy Landfill. If you've never heard this song before, yes you have. You hear it every time I say a swear word. The opening to this song somewhat reminds me of the theme song from Thomas the Train, which I guess is a good thing, but once those drums kick in and those guitars start up, you kind of realize that it goes way harder than you would expect it to, and it's also a lot less goofy than you would think. Number 85, The Sounder. I really like Phi Life Cypher on this song, and it makes me feel kind of bad that they were closed off from the first album in the way that they were. But this song's really good. You can tell that they're really high energy, and I like the references to Gorillaz themselves in the lyrics. There's I believe a sitar being played in the background throughout. I'm a fake Indian because I honestly can't tell, but it sounds really nice, and I love the melody of the chorus and that special little 2D voice that Damon used to do. Number 84, With Love to an Ex. I think the thing I like about this song is that it's the closest Gorillaz has ever gotten to kind of like a bad bitch anthem, if that makes sense. And unlike Possession Island, I think the horns towards the end really add a lot and they don't feel forced. And I also like the toy piano throughout. Just instrumentally, I think this song's really interesting. Number 83, Ascension. I think this song is an amazing opener to Humans because it so perfectly lays out what the album is about, sort of the political conversation as well as the nature of a party at the end of the world. And being an Abbott Elementary fan, I've recently become a pretty big Vince Staples fan because he's so funny in that show. I love Mo. Anyways, I think his performance here is really good, and I don't know why this song isn't talked about more. Also, I just love the lyrics about the sky falling because, and I know you guys are going to judge me, but Chicken Little was my favorite movie growing up, and I still really like it, so... Number 82, Dead Butterflies. While I may not think it's one of the best songs from Song Machine, it's definitely one of my favorites. I think it's really rare that we get a more passionate and almost loud performance from Damon, which I really enjoy. And I like that they brought back Kano. It's always nice to see a Gorillaz guest come back after so many years. Number 81, Hollywood. Speaking of old-timey Gorillaz guests, we have Snoop Dogg back once again for the first time in 8 years, and while I love this song, there's something about the production that I feel is holding it back. I think it had the potential to be a straight-up banger like Dare or Cracker Island, but there's something about the production that feels subdued, and I don't know if this was to make it fit in with the rest of the album, but it just feels like it doesn't hit quite as hard as it should. Number 80, 5/4. Obviously the time signature is something that's really cool about this song. I love the gritty sound that it has and that a lot of Phase 1 had. I kind of wish they would bring it back. And that chorus may not be super clever or deep, but man, it's fun. Number 79, Saturn's Bars. The first time I listened to this song all the way back in 2017, I remember having a really difficult time getting into it until 2D started singing, and then my opinion completely changed. I was like, okay, wow, never mind, this song's amazing and I love it. And I still kind of feel that way. While I really enjoy the chorus, the verses are a little bit difficult to sit through for me, I'm sorry. Number 78, Magic City. The first time I heard this song was through the Boiler Room live stream that they did way back in 2018. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I do, because I went to the movies with my friends. We went to see Incredibles 2, which wasn't a very good movie, was it? That's besides the point. But the entire time I was sitting in the theater, I was like so stressed out because I knew that performance was happening and I was missing it. So as soon as we left the theater, I pulled my phone out and I got onto the live stream, and I joined the live stream right in the middle of this song, Magic City, and I immediately fell in love with it, especially with the way Damon sang the chorus very loud and very big, because again, that's not something we're used to from him. So I was a little bit disappointed to hear the studio version and hear him sing the chorus in this almost frail falsetto, but I still really love it. It's very sunny and upbeat, and it always puts me in a good mood. Number 77, The Lost Chord. This is another one where I have trouble separating my opinions on the song and the music video, because this is one of my favorite music videos from Gorillaz. It just makes me so happy, and I don't think the song quite lives up to the sheer euphoria of the music video, but it's still really good. It's a really nice journey back to Plastic Beach through a modern lens, and Lee John's vocal performance is amazing. His voice works with the song so well. It's ultimately just a very smooth, glittery, beautiful piece of music. Number 76, Moments. The first time I listened to Humans all the way through, this was my favorite song on the album, and I don't feel that way anymore, but I still really love this song. I feel like it's really fun, and out of all the songs on Humans, it has the most upbeat, party-like energy behind it. Although I will say I hate the bridge with the whole plastic on the ceiling. I don't know who that is. It sounds like it's supposed to be Noodle, but in real life I don't know whose voice that is, but it really gets on my nerves. And I love the concept of the cool clown clan, but I kind of wish it had been used more in universe. I think it could have been a really interesting antagonist maybe for Phase 4, whatever. Number 75, 3 Hearts, 7 Seas, 12 Moons. I've said this before, but I think the decision to work with an orchestra for Plastic Beach is genuinely one of the most brilliant decisions Gorillaz have ever made. I think the inclusion of this orchestra and of the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble really elevates this album above your standard Gorillaz music. It makes it feel very cinematic, because songs like 3 Hearts don't really feel like a standard Gorillaz song, do they? It feels like the score of a movie. It feels like high art. Number 74, Chalk Tablet Towers. This is, in my opinion, one of the catchiest songs Gorillaz have ever put out. When I first heard it, it was stuck in my head for literally 3 weeks. And overall, I just think it's really fun, it's really upbeat, and it's a really nice song. Number 73, Out of Body. This song was my introduction to Kilo Quiche, who I love. I think she has the voice of an angle, and I really like how the song is framed as some sort of ritual. The only thing I don't really like about it is I feel like the structure of the featured artists doesn't really make sense to me. It just feels like a bunch of people taking turns on the mic with no real rhyme or reason. Number 72, Ghost Train. Considering this was their very first song ever recorded in universe, it is a strong beginning. It was in fact recorded so long ago that the band was still known as Gorilla, and Paula was still on guitar. This is another song I wish that they would play more often, just because it's so high energy and so much fun. Number 71, 68 State. This song just reminds me of driving at nighttime, which I think is intentional because there's a lot of like highway noise throughout. You know when you're a kid and you're in the back seat of your parents' car driving home somewhere at night and you're kind of watching all the headlights streak by and you're pretending to be asleep so that once you get home your parents will carry you inside and tuck you in so you don't have to do it yourself. That's what this song feels like to me. Okay, here's where things get really excited. We're moving up from the songs that are good to the ones that are truly great. Number 70, Latin Simone, Spanish version. I kind of already talked about this in my entry for the English version, but the Spanish version has some really beautiful vocals and a lot of emotional impact, especially when it's included in kind of the twofold of its English counterpart. Number 69, Soundcheck, Gravity. This one has always just been really pleasing to me. I like the record scratches from Kid Koala and the outdoor ambiance, as well as the vocals from 2D. Number 68, Stylo. I feel like I don't like this song as much as most people do. The chorus as well as the verse for Mos Def just aren't that appealing to me, but I think Bobby Womack absolutely kills this song. He does such an amazing job and really bumps it up for me. I also want to point out that when I saw Gorillaz live in 2017, Pevin Everett filled in for Bobby Womack's part and he did an absolutely amazing job. I was worried that he wouldn't be able to do it justice, but he was incredible. Number 67, Ticker Tape. I know that I said New Gold has the best guest lineup on a Gorillaz song, but this one is my favorite. I've mentioned before that I love Kali Uchis, and growing up, one of my favorite movies was Piglet's Big Movie with the soundtrack from Carly Simon. So when I found out that she was featuring on a Gorillaz track, I was so excited. And this album really does feel like a parade for a victory that nobody wanted, if that makes sense. An inauguration with a protest happening right outside the front gates. Number 66, El Mañana. I already kind of talked about this in my entry for Fireflies, but in terms of sad ones, this song's great, but it just doesn't have the emotional impact for me when removed from the context of the music video. Number 65, New Genius Brother. This is one of my favorites from Self-Titled. I really like the nocturnal vibe of it and the lyrics kind of serving as a warning, as well as that main vocal hook. Number 63, Hallelujah Money. I think this song is so overhated. It probably has some of my favorite lyrics of any Gorillaz song, with the political sort of statement hidden very cleverly in this metaphor, in my opinion. And I know that Benjamin Clementine didn't really enjoy working with Gorillaz, unfortunately, but I think he does an amazing job on this track. Number 62, Carnival 2D Special. To me, this one kind of makes up for the flaws of the original. It's carried out to a length that actually makes sense. I think 2D's vocals add a lot to the song, and overall it just feels a lot more complete, I think, than the original. Number 61, Superfast Jellyfish. This song is just fun. I love the samples from the old commercials and the nature documentaries. The beat is really fun and exciting, and I love the chorus, even though for years and years and years, like ever since I was a little kid, I thought it was 2D. Like, did anybody else think that? Number 60, People. I love this song. I actually think it holds up really well in comparison to Dare. I think this one just carries a lot of nostalgia for me because when I was a kid, my mom used to put this song on in the living room and we would have little dance parties to it. And I really like the breakdown towards the end of the synthesizers that Dare does not have. It reminds me of like a traffic jam, and I think it really adds to the nature of the song just being about people. Number 59, Rehash. I know Ghost Train was their first song lore-wise, but to me this is the one that started it all, and it just has so much charm from the guitar, or is it a banjo? I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this. And what sounds like the laughter of children in the background and the harpsichord, it's just really cute, and it's a great introduction to kind of the quirky off-color world of Gorillaz. Number 58, Faust. Similar to Chi-Town, this one to me kind of feels like a rainy afternoon. It feels like getting home from work after a very long day, and there's something about it that's just so immensely calming to me. I absolutely love it. Number 57, Strange Times. I'll be honest, when I first heard this song, I did not like it. I really wanted to, having grown up with The Cure, but now the more that I listen to it, the more that I like the lyrics of it, especially towards the middle of the song when the beat kicks in and everything starts to kind of make sense. Number 56, Trans. Again, this is another more passionate performance from 2D, which is always intriguing to see. I think my only issue with this song is that from watching Reject False Icons, you notice all of these hidden details throughout the instrumental that you wish had been kind of fleshed out more. Number 55, Andromeda, definitely one of the better songs on Humans and a very touching tribute to Bobby Womack, and the synth line in the chorus is just an instant classic to me. Number 54, All Alone. I think this one is another very underrated one. To me, it's very quintessential Gorillaz. It has the rap that a lot of Gorillaz songs are known for. It has a very beautiful ethereal bridge in the middle before pulling you right back down into this dark, very gritty beat. To me, it's kind of everything that you would want out of the Demon Days era. Number 53, Hillbilly Man, another super underrated track. I absolutely love the way the beat switches up in the middle. Frank Ocean Who? Okay, that was too far. But it's a really good song, and if you haven't heard it, I would definitely check it out. Number 52, Detroit. I could very easily see this being the soundtrack to a Gorillaz video game. It reminds me of being a little kid and playing on my hot pink Nintendo DS. Number 51, Humility. This one just feels so sunny and summery to me. I love the guitar from George Benson, and to me, it's a very nice insight into the world of 2D himself. Number 50, Aries. I mentioned before that I grew up with The Cure, but one of my mom's favorite bands is New Order, so I associate them with my childhood a lot too. So hearing the bass in this song just really takes me back, and I love it. Number 49, The Valley of the Pagans. This is another song to me that kind of has a lot of build-up because the chorus is just so satisfying to me. I think it's something about that synth line that follows along with the vocals. I just love this one, and it also contains one of my favorite Gorillaz lyrics when 2D says 100 million Viagra tablets. It's just so poetic. Number 48, Revolving Doors. I think this is one of the most underrated Gorillaz songs and should have been a bigger hit than it was. I love that ukulele loop and just the general ambiance of the song. I think it perfectly captures kind of the lonesome feeling of being on tour and going from city to city to city without establishing any real connection. Number 47, Strobe Light. This is another one from Humans that I feel like properly captures the energy that it was trying to go for. I absolutely love the lyrics. It's a huge inspiration to me in my personal life as someone who is dealing with a lot of self-improvement and self-reflection. And it's just a really encouraging song. I know I've been praising Pevin Everett throughout this video, but once again, he just has an incredible voice, and I think he does an amazing job on this song. Number 46, She's My Caller. This is, in my opinion, one of the best songs from Humans. How can I say this without being embarrassing? But I kind of like how it's the only Gorillaz song, or one of the only Gorillaz songs that sounds kind of sexy. Like, the lyrics are very sexual. The song literally begins with the sound of Damon pulling his covers over his head because he recorded the song in bed, in case you didn't know. And the song literally features like panting, which for some reason Damon refuses to do live. Like, dude, I hate to be the one to have to tell you this, but like, we've all seen your dick like hard, so I don't know if now is the time to be shy. Number 45, Slow Country. This song has a lot of personal significance to me that I don't know if I'm ready to reveal. So it's gonna be really hard to pick the video back up after that, but just know that this song is really significant to me, and that's why I've ranked it so high. Number 44, Captain Chicken. I think I forgot when I made this list how horrible the timing of that would be, because now I have to talk about fucking Captain Chicken. I can't explain to you why this is, but out of all the songs from Cracker Island, the one that has stuck with me the most, the one that I'm constantly listening to and absolutely bumping in my car, is Captain Chicken. First of all, yeah, the chicken noises are ridiculous, but they're like kind of fun, right? It kind of makes me miss when Gorillaz would just be straight up weird. And of course, it's nice to see Dell again. And 2D's chorus is like really nice. I get a lot of enjoyment out of the way he says, Captain Chicken, oh my God. Also, just the term Captain Chicken reminds me of, has anybody else played Donkey Kong Country Returns? I hope so, because it was my favorite video game growing up, and one of the boss levels was like a chicken in a big robot suit. And I don't know what to tell you guys. This song just makes me really happy. Number 43, Sweepstakes. I will defend this song until the day I die. I think this song is so good. I think around, I want to say it's like 1 minute and 40 seconds maybe, or maybe it's closer to the 2-minute mark. I don't know off the top of my head, but when the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble comes in and you get those drums, oh, it's a great song, and I wish it wasn't so overlooked. Number 42, Suk Ai. This one is definitely up there in terms of album closers. It's very powerful and very emotionally impactful. The one thing I don't like is those sort of staccato strings that occur in the sort of instrumental break in the middle, but what more than makes up for it is the glockenspiel in the outro. Just something about that melody is so powerful and so melancholy to me. It's one of my favorite moments of any Gorillaz song. Number 41, Aspen Forest. If I'm feeling stressed or down for whatever reason, I put on this song and bam, it is immediately cured. This song is so meditative and so beautiful and so calming. Number 40, Orchestral Intro. This song is just gorgeous. I think it's such an amazing opener and introduction to the album Plastic Beach. It really does feel like you're being swept away and taken to a faraway place. It's beautiful, it's mesmerizing, it's amazing. Number 39, White Flag. I kind of consider this song to be the anti-Joplin Spider in the sense that the intro to this song is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my entire life. It's obviously Arabic music, so it's not the same thing, but I grew up listening to a lot of Indian orchestral music, so it really just takes me back to being a little kid. And nostalgia aside, it's genuinely so beautiful. Like, it's one of the best things Gorillaz have ever made. And then it just kind of goes downhill once the actual song starts. But I do really like the intro with the sort of 8-bit sounding synths mixing with the Arabic orchestra. Overall, I think while the middle of this song is just kind of average, the beginning and ending of the song are so powerful that it really helps the song out. I think if this song had just been an instrumental with the Arabic orchestra and maybe some synths, I would have no problem putting it in the masterpiece tier. Number 38, Andromeda Dram Special. Is it Dram or Drum? I actually don't know. I'm gonna say Drum because it sounds better. Something about this song is just so much more, I think, fleshed out and emotionally impactful for me. I honestly think it would have been a great closer to Humans instead of We Got the Power, because to me it feels very hopeful. It feels like picking yourself back up after a defeat, after a long, hard night, and I think that really fits in with the theme of Humans. It feels like a bunch of people coming together to face a common opponent and to keep fighting in a world that is fighting back against them. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I'm probably reading too much into it, but I love this version of the song. It's beautiful. Number 37, Pac-Man. This has probably one of my favorite instrumentals of any Gorillaz song. The way that it switches up between verses into this kind of bouncy video game type beat into something very nocturnal, reminiscent of Demon Days, is something that I really enjoy, and Schoolboy Q does a great job on this song. I would almost call this song like Dirty Harry 2. It feels like a more modern version of Dirty Harry. Number 36, Momentary Bliss. This obviously being the first song released from Song Machine, it has a special place in my heart because it just felt like such a fresh of breath air after Humans and the Now Now to hear like a real instrument in a Gorillaz song. And this song just has such a powerful energy, I feel like. Similar to Strobe Light, it just feels very inspiring to me, especially with the rapping from Slow Tie in the chorus. And again, not to like get too deep into it, but as someone who struggles with myself a lot, the lyrics just really speak to me, especially in the chorus. Number 35, Désolé. I think this is one of the greatest songs ever to come out of modern Gorillaz. Something about it is just so melancholy and beautiful in the way that the best Gorillaz songs are. And the breakdown with the horns in the middle is just like the perfect Gorillaz quirk to me. I love the vocals in this one. I love the French. I love everything about this song. Okay, so now we're going to be getting into the masterpieces. To me, these are the best songs Gorillaz have ever made, as well as some of my favorite songs in general. Number 34, Fire Coming Out of the Monkey's Head. I think this song is really overlooked and really underrated because of how unique it is. I think we will never get another Gorillaz song quite like this one. A spoken word piece about oil and war in Iraq, told through a metaphor about a mountain called Monkey, narrated by Dennis Hopper. It's just such a wildly imaginative concept, and for that, I respect it so much. When I was a kid, I couldn't listen to this song because it really scared me for some reason. I think just the idea of a mountain destroying an entire population of people was something that didn't really sit right with 8-year-old me. But now that I'm older, I can see the song for what it is, which is a masterpiece. Number 33, Dare. This song will always be special to me because it is my mom's favorite. It's the song that got her into Gorillaz, which then got me into Gorillaz. So shout out to my mom. This, to me, is Gorillaz' biggest banger. It's just a pure, fun, upbeat, danceable song, which is honestly kind of unusual. It's a little bit out of the ordinary to get a Gorillaz song without even a little bit of melancholy or sadness. It has an infectious beat, a really exciting melody, great performances from Roses Gabor and Sean Parker. Sean Parker? You all know it, you all love it, it's Dare. Number 32, Pirate Jet. To me, this is the perfect closure to the story of Plastic Beach in a very satisfying way. I love the lyrics, I love those synths throughout. I think the further up I go on this list, the harder it is to describe these songs and do them justice with words. So I'm sorry if my descriptions sound short or dumb. It's just so hard to communicate just the feelings that these songs give me. Number 31, Broken. In terms of sad ones that I mentioned earlier, this is definitely one of the better ones just because the feeling of despair it carries with it is so concentrated. It feels so mournful, and the live version with the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble is just on a completely different level. Number 30, Some Kind of Nature. I think this is one of the best tracks off Plastic Beach and one of the best Gorillaz songs in general, clearly as it's at this place in the list. I love Lou Reed's more subdued performance and the lyrics in the chorus, particularly the lyric, "All we are is stars." It just kind of makes you think about your place in the world and in nature. I was lucky enough to hear this song played live in 2017 for the first time in 7 years, and everything about it was just such a special moment. So I think that memory definitely influences this song's ranking, but that definitely doesn't mean it's not a masterpiece. Number 29, Busted and Blue. To me, this is the best track off of Humans. It just feels like a quiet moment to breathe and meditate and reflect on the reality of the situation, and this song has gotten through many a tough spot in the past. Number 28, 19-2000. This one's just so much fun. I actually hadn't heard this song until fairly recently. I only heard it about 5 years ago. Until then, I had only heard the Soul Child remix, and I still kind of think that remix is better. But this song to me is kind of the definition of Gorillaz quirkiness. It's fun, it's silly, it's irreverent, it's 19-2000. Number 27, Tomorrow Comes Today. I know I said Ghost Train was the song that started it all, and then I said Rehash is the one that started it all, but Tomorrow Comes Today is the one that started it all. For many people, this was their introduction to Gorillaz, and what an introduction it is, with the melancholy vocals from 2D, that beautiful melodica line throughout. This song, as well as the majority of Self-Titled, feels very nocturnal and very urban. And when I say urban, I don't mean the way they do on Nickelodeon. I mean that it actually feels like you're in the inner city, which is something that I really like. Number 26, Last Living Souls. This was always one of my dad's favorites because of the string section in the bridge, and I honestly agree with him. This song is so amazing. To me, it perfectly combines the sort of darker tones and lighter tones that Demon Days has, those kind of spots of hope amid the despair, and it's an excellent introduction to the album. Number 25, Dirty Harry. This one's a classic with the iconic synth line, the children's chorus, the verse from Booty Brown. I don't need to describe it to you because I know you've already heard it and you probably love it just as much as I do. Number 24, Plastic Beach. I think what elevates this song to masterpiece status to me is those synth scales running along in the background. I have tried for years to figure out exactly what notes those are, and it's something that has just stumped me forever. So if somebody has like some sheet music or something they could send to me, that would be greatly appreciated. Similar to the intro from Spitting Out the Demons, it just feels so mesmerizing and it feels like you're being transported to a plastic beach. Number 23, Cloud of Unknowing. As the second to last track on Plastic Beach, it's a very quiet, reflective moment led by Bobby Womack, who is giving, in my opinion, one of the best performances from a featured artist on a Gorillaz song, as well as the strings from Sinfonia Viva in the background and in the outro. It's very beautiful and it's very hard to listen to without tearing up. Number 22, Oh Green World. When I was a kid, I really didn't like this song. I thought it sounded ugly, for a lack of a better word, and I didn't like the squawking and the sort of psycho-esque strings in the instrumental, to the point where whenever I was driving along with my parents and it came on in the car, I would ask them to skip it because I just couldn't stand it. But now that I'm older and I have taste, I now see how wrong I was, because oh my god, this song is so good. Number 21, How Far. To me, this is one of the best songs from modern Gorillaz, especially because it's such a touching tribute to Tony Allen, who is a musician I really love and admire and respect. I love Skepta on this song. I think his lyrics and his delivery are so good, and to me the instrumental feels like Phase 1. Even though sonically it's not very similar, it really just feels like old Gorillaz. Number 20, November Has Come. I mentioned in my album ranking video that I think this song has one of the best choruses Damon has ever written, and I completely stand by that. That melody is not only one of the best aspects of a Gorillaz song, but again, one of the best things Damon has ever written. And of course, the late, great MF Doom completely carries the song and elevates it to a godlike status. Number 19, The Swagga. I'm so sorry. I wish I could sit here and explain to you why I love this song so much, but I can't justify this. I feel like a lot of you are probably going to be judging me, and that's completely fair. There is just something about this song that is just so addictive to me. I just love it so much. I love the synth hook that runs throughout and the more upbeat vocals, especially in the middle of the song when you get that section with the really heavy, gritty guitars, and then it gets louder and louder and louder, and then that kick drum comes in. Literally nothing will ever go as hard. Number 18, Pirate's Progress. Once again, with the more orchestral songs off Plastic Beach, this is truly art to me. This is some of the best music Gorillaz has ever put out, and if you've never heard Pirate's Progress, it basically feels like Pirate Jet if it was more awesome. This song kind of connects the intro of the album to the outro, and imagine how amazing it would be if this was the final track with Pirate Jet, so you sort of got a reprise of the intro to the album, and then the horns would build up, and then the beat from Pirate Jet would come in. Oh my god, you guys, I love Plastic Beach so much. Okay, hoping you guys didn't hear that thunder. We're going to keep going so I can get this video done. Number 17, Sleeping Powder. This is the best song from Phase 4, and it's not even close. This is absolutely what humans should have been. It's so upbeat and energetic. It's so much fun. I love the harpsichord in the intro. I love the vocals. It once again really feels like 2D is singing to you rather than just Damon. And something about this song, despite it pretty much being about addiction, is so uplifting to me. It sounds like if Cotton Candy was a song. Number 16, Cracker Island. I love this song so much. I know that I said Dare was probably the definitive Gorillaz banger, but to me, this is the Gorillaz song that more than any other makes me want to get up and dance. Just the melody of it and the synths and the drum, especially paired with the metronome that you hear throughout. It's truly amazing, and Thundercat's bass and vocals add so much to the track. Oh my god, I love it. I know that my opinions on Cracker Island as a whole aren't very positive, but I truly do think this title track is one of the best songs they've made, period. Number 15, Kids with Guns. It's hard to talk about this song, I feel like, because as an American, it just kind of hits different, I guess, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to, be dramatic or turn this into me getting up on my soapbox, but gun violence is such a huge issue in this country, and sometimes it just makes you feel so helpless because the people in power refuse to do anything to protect the children of this country, and it's extremely frustrating and extremely disappointing, which always makes this song hit that much harder for me. I've mentioned this before, but I think the relative restraint throughout the beginning and middle of the song really just makes the ending feel that much more powerful with the guitars and the crashing cymbals. Everything about this song is so expertly crafted, and I really, really love it. Number 14, Rhinestone Eyes. To me, this is definitely one of their best songs. I think the lack of a real chorus is actually something that works in the song's favor, especially if you've ever been to a Gorillaz live show. The lack of a chorus doesn't stop people from singing along with the synths. And I love the lyrics. I think the lyrics of this one, more than any other song on Plastic Beach, really put you on the island with mentions of the heat and the helicopters and the color of the sky. It makes you feel like you're there. And to me, one of Gorillaz' greatest strengths is their ability to make you feel like you're a part of this fictional world. And I think Rhinestone Eyes is a really good example of that. Number 13, On Melancholy Hill. What can I say about this song that hasn't already been said? Everything about it is so beautiful and so emotionally impactful. From the lyrics to the melody to the instrumental, everything about it is pretty much perfect. Although I will say, if you haven't heard the iTunes live version of the song, I would honestly recommend it because I think it's better than the album version. Something about Damon's vocals and the guitar added in towards the end just really elevate the song, and listening to that version always makes me cry. Number 12, Clint Eastwood. Again, it's Clint Eastwood, man. What do you want me to say? Everybody knows this song. It's iconic for a reason. To me, it's so admirable that this smash success of a song was built from the ground up on a pre-built-in setting on a keyboard. And of course, Gorillaz and Del are a match made in heaven. He brings so much to this song and, in my opinion, made it what it is. And of course, the chorus is one of the most iconic choruses in Gorillaz history. Everything about this song is perfect, and you already know that, so why am I still wasting time talking about it? Also, fun fact, my mom thought that Del was Will Smith. She thought Will Smith was the guest rapper on the song for decades until I corrected her like a month ago. So sorry to put my mom on blast. I just think that's really funny. Number 11, Feel Good Inc. This song is their biggest hit for a reason. Is it a little overrated? Maybe, but listening to it, it's easy to see why it was the smash success that it was. To me, it's almost the blueprint of what a song should be, from the verses from 2D to that chorus to the verses from De La Soul. Everything about it is structured perfectly and crafted expertly. And I'm honestly glad this was as big of a hit as it was, because if it hadn't been a hit, then you would never have a situation where some guy hears this song on the radio in his car and then he decides that he really likes it and he looks more into the band and he thinks, a cartoon band, what an original idea. And so he shows this band and their music and their videos to his wife and his very young daughter, completely unaware of the monster he would go on to create. So, thanks, Dad. You showed me one song like 10 years ago, and look at me now, a YouTuber. Number 10, do ya thing. Let me paint you a picture. So you're at a theme park, just picture in your head whatever your favorite theme park is, and you're getting on a roller coaster, and you strap yourself in, you take off, and it's fine. It's a pretty cool roller coaster, nothing too exciting, but it goes pretty fast. And then, all of a sudden, you find yourself at the top of the highest drop you've ever been on. It's like 1,000 feet tall. And all of a sudden, you're racing down this hill at 1,000 miles an hour. You're upside down. You're spinning around. You don't even know what to make of it. You're flying so quickly that you can't even make sense of where you are. And it goes on for so long, just constant twisting and turning and flying, that you completely lose sense of time and you begin to feel like maybe this is just the rest of your life and you'll be stuck here forever. And then as suddenly as it started, the ride screeches to a stop and you kind of jolt in your seat and your legs are shaking a little bit as you stand up and you're struggling to orient yourself because your body still feels like it's moving 1,000 miles an hour and you're just trying to gather yourself and you're kind of standing, shaken by what you have seen. You have just lived the experience of listening to this song. Hopefully that metaphor made sense because that's always the way I've thought of it. For the first 4 minutes of the song, it's definitely one of your better Gorillaz songs. It's got a really nice energy. The vocals are really great. Again, the fact that Damon completely improvised the lyrics on this one is insane. And then around the 4-minute mark, Andre 3000 completely hijacks the song and takes you on an incredible journey. And that's not to discredit the first part of the song because, like I said, it is one of Gorillaz' best songs on its own. And this might be a surprise to you, but I don't listen to a lot of rap music, but I genuinely think Andre 3000's verse in the first part of the song is one of the best rap verses I've ever heard. But around the 4-minute mark, he completely takes over the song and he makes it his own, and he takes you on this journey that goes on for so long, you begin to feel like you'll be stuck in this cocoon of these screaming guitars forever, and then it suddenly just comes crashing down to a stop. And the final section of the song just feels so empty and still, and it feels like you've just gotten whiplash almost from listening to a song. I almost put this song in the final tier, but I think it so perfectly straddles the line between masterpiece and that final tier. I still don't have a name for it because it is a average Gorillaz song until it isn't, and it has the best of both worlds, and I think that's what makes it so special. I also think that if you were to try and get a friend of yours into Gorillaz, this would be the perfect song to recommend to them. You would play them the first 4 minutes, and then hopefully they'd be like, yeah, that was pretty good, I like it. And then you'd say, well, you're in luck because we've got 7 more minutes of it. Is that right? Did I do that math right? And then you'd say, well, you're in luck because there's 9 more minutes of it. And then after you play those 9 minutes, if they're still on board, you have just gotten yourself a new Gorillaz fan. Okay, guys, we finally made it to the final tier. Like I said in the very beginning, I couldn't think of a name for this tier because it's so hard to articulate how I feel about these songs. To me, they're not even songs, they're more so experiences, I guess, which sounds really cheesy and dumb, but that's how I feel. These 9 songs are so important and so special to me. They're the most incredible pieces of music I've ever heard in my life. So, you know what? Let's stop wasting time. Let's just get into it. Number 9, To Binge. This one probably should have gone in the masterpiece tier considering it really is just a standard Gorillaz song, but this is my list and I get to pick the ranking, and this song is just so special to me. For a lot of personal reasons, which makes it very hard to justify my ranking without kind of spilling all of my deepest secrets to you guys. So just take my word for it. I love this song and I will treasure it forever. Number 8, Stop the Dams. This song just has so much emotional weight behind it. It's so hard to describe without just having you listen to it. It's so melancholy, yet so hopeful at the same time to me. The one thing that I don't like about it is the ghost digital feature in the middle. To me, it just kind of interrupts the pacing of the song. But the song more than makes up for it from the chorus and the horns. This song is just the cure-all, man. It will always pick me up whenever I'm feeling down. That moment towards the end of the song where there's a synthesizer sort of repeating, echoing the horn line that you hear throughout the song, there's just something that I love about it. It's one of my favorite moments from any Gorillaz song. I love this song, you guys. It's so hard to talk about this stuff because I feel like I can't do it justice with words, but if you haven't listened to any of the songs on this tier, oh my god, please go do so after this video. Number 7, Every Planet We Reach Is Dead. I've mentioned this before, but when I was 12 years old, this was my favorite song because something about it was just so thrilling to me. I had never heard anything like it before, especially the breakdown in sort of the middle of the song where it just becomes sheer noise and these guitars and these strings, everything just collides together in this beautiful cacophony. It feels like a space odyssey, like you're looking down on the planet from above. And because I used this song as such a form of escapism when I was an angsty little 12-year-old, it's always going to have a special place in my heart. Number 6, Little Pink Plastic Bags. I mentioned earlier in the video that I grew up in Atlanta, which meant I drove through the city a lot, and there's something about Atlanta at nighttime, at least from the safety of your car, that is very special. Driving on the highway and seeing the Cartoon Network offices where I used to dream about working, and the college campus where I dreamed I might go one day, and the skyscrapers that as a child it's so hard to fathom a team of people building. And whenever I listen to this song, it just takes me back to being a little kid in the back of my parents' car looking out the window at the city that I used to call home. It's the perfect soundtrack to driving at night, especially through a city, and there's something about sort of the atmospheric nature of the song that really just kind of gets you thinking about who you are, kind of what you want in life, and how small you are in the grand scheme of things. And in that sense, it really just makes you feel like maybe everything is gonna be okay. Number 5, The Parish of Space Dust. If Little Pink Plastic Bags takes me to a city at night, this one takes me to a very small town at the break of dawn. Of course, the song is centered around Texas, but growing up in Georgia, I am no stranger to a small town, and hearing the snippets from different radio broadcasts throughout the intro kind of just conjures the image of a small town waking up, making coffee, going about their day. It just brings to mind the idea of a community of people and how we're all just people, just kind of walking around with our own special little lives, and sometimes our lives intertwine with each other, and it's great and it's beautiful, and we have other people to lean on and talk to and form communities and build buildings and create towns with. This song just reminds me of the most beautiful parts of humanity and of life in general, and I don't even think that was the intention when Damon was messing around on his iPad making this song. But I don't even care. I'm so grateful that this song exists. I'm so grateful that the fall exists. Please give it another chance. Number 4, Hong Kong. I mentioned before that this song doesn't really feel like a Gorillaz song, but the more that I think about it, the less I feel like that's true, because what does feel like a Gorillaz song? Gorillaz songs have been everything from pop to reggae to folk. They featured everybody from Elton John to Snoop Dogg. So who am I to say what a Gorillaz song can and can't be? Of course, I've never been to Hong Kong, but similar to The Parish of Space Dust, this song just kind of is a reflection to me on the nature of humanity, with its mentions of English boys, school children, radio DJs, so many different people living so many different lives from the perspective of somebody sort of observing from the outside. And of course, the instrumental of this song is absolutely beautiful. It transcends your average Gorillaz song to me, especially that outro with the strings and the piano. It feels so beautiful. I think a lot of people would consider this to be Gorillaz' best song and their magnum opus, and it's definitely up there. Obviously, it's number 4 of 175, but there are 3 songs that I think are just a little bit better, and I'm so excited to talk about them. Number 3, Amarillo. I've just sat here in front of the microphone for about 30 seconds because I truly can't think of anything to say, which is kind of embarrassing because I literally just said I could not wait to talk about these songs. Pretty sure I've mentioned this before on my channel, but whenever I buy a new pair of headphones, the first song I listen to test them out is always this one, because the soundscape of this song is so massive and so grand and so monumental that it always brings me to tears before 2D even starts singing. Everything about it just feels so lonely and emotionally loaded that it's so easy to forget it was made on an iPad. And 2D's lyrics about getting lost on a highway and needing love and forgiveness for the things that he's done really appealed to me as an angsty teenager who was convinced I was a terrible person. Something about this song is just so massively comforting and so emotionally impactful that it's better than a masterpiece. It can't even be described with words, so why am I even trying? Number 2, Demon Days. I've been talking about album closers throughout this entire video, and it's all been building up to this point. Demon Days is probably the best final track I've heard on any album. And I wish they would bring back the pattern of using this song and Don't Get Lost in Heaven to close out their live shows, because oh my god, what a religious experience that was. As somebody who struggled with a lot of mental health issues and depression, this song is exactly what it feels like to come out the other side and to find the beauty in life again and to find the strength to keep going. No matter how much life can suck, no matter how much your brain will try to turn against you, the things that you say about yourself are not true. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of a life that is full of joy and meaning. And it is never too late to pick yourself up, because no matter how dark things get, there will always be a brand new day just around the corner. And finally, we have arrived at what I think is the best song Gorillaz have ever made and will ever make. Number 1, Empire Ants. I feel like a lot of you guys probably saw this coming. Maybe this is a pretty basic choice, but you know what? I don't care. It is impossible for me to listen to this song without crying, and this is another one that I'm definitely going to struggle to describe, especially after everything I said in the last entry. But I almost consider this to be 2 separate pieces of music. You have that first half, which is so immensely soothing and calming. It immediately pulls me out of whatever anxiety I'm feeling, whatever I'm stressed out about, and it's one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. And the way the song gradually builds and escalates into just this whirlwind of synthesizers, it doesn't even feel like a song. It feels like the word song isn't good enough. It feels like an experience. It feels like a force of nature. I honestly think that this is not only the best song Gorillaz have ever made, but one of the greatest songs of all time. Whenever I listen to this song, I immediately detach from whatever is going on around me, from all of my other senses even. I just get completely lost in the beautiful sound of this song. And I honestly believe that just listening to that transition between each half of the song is one of the greatest experiences a human being can have. Just like Demon Days, no matter how bad I'm feeling, how bad things get, this song will always pick me up and remind me of sort of the beauty present in the world, because this song itself is so beautiful. It almost is overwhelming how good this song is. It's almost too much to handle. Feeling the happiness I get from this song and Gorillaz music in general, and the way that it shifts my perspective, that is what life is living for, and that's why I have to keep going. I feel so lucky to have had this song with me throughout my entire life, and to have had this band to lean on ever since I was a child. It means so much to me. To me, this is Gorillaz' magnum opus. I don't think they'll ever top this. Empire Ants is, and always will be, the best song Gorillaz have ever made. So, there it is. I've finally ranked all 175 Gorillaz songs, even though nobody asked me to. Even so, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you liked me, maybe subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to be all from me. I am going to take a very long nap and then call my parents and tell them I love them. Bye!